Good evening and welcome to the thorough newspaper analysis for 23rd November 2022. So today's editorial article has been sourced from the Hindu and it is on the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill of 2022. Following that, we will have the news update and the legal news for today. Now, before we actually move on to the thorough newspaper analysis and the editorial analysis that basically starts off the TNA, I would like to invite you all to participate in the Constitution Day quiz that is being hosted on the 26th of November 2022 at 10 a.m. Now, as you know, the 26th November of every year is celebrated in India as the Constitutional Day of India. And LawSikho has come forward to organize a quiz on the Indian Constitution on this day with cash prizes of worth up to 18,000 rupees. The winner of the quiz will receive 10,000 INR. The runner up will basically get INR 5,000, and the second runner up will be rewarded with INR 3,000. This aside, top 50 scorers will also receive discount coupons for various LawSikho courses. The registration link for this quiz is in the description, the very first line in the description. So I fervently hope that I get to see all of you there. Now, with this, we move on to the thorough newspaper analysis for today, with the first article being a bill protecting state surveillance. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology on November 18th released the draft Digital Personal Data Protection Bill of 2022. Now, this bill comes after the Personal Data Protection Bill of 2018 was scrapped. Now, a lot of hubbub was created when the Personal Data Protection Bill of 2018 was scrapped after people working on it for 3.5 years. Now, the question that arises is, so if we are still preparing a data protection bill with the person, like with the basic common people in mind whose data agencies are collecting and then analyzing and processing, so then what is the compliance framework or the surveillance structure that India presently operates in? Now, this surveillance structure in itself is governed by Section 5 of the Telegraph Act of 1885 and Section 69 of the Information Technology Act 2000, along with other procedural laws and rules that are promulgated under them. However, when this draft bill did come out, a lot of concerns were raised by learned lawyers and legal jurists. So, the basic contention the primary contention against this draft bill is the blanket exemptions that the central government has reserved the power to give to certain government agencies. Now, Clause 18.2 of this draft bill allows the central government to give blanket exemptions for select government agencies. This in itself has a very strong counter argument that when we are talking from a government scale, our personal data is often recorded by the government in order to, like ease our lives and in order to ensure that we have a secured surrounding. Now, even if we did accept that argument, Clause 18.3 or the immediately following clause also allows this benefit to private companies or a class of companies. Now, this is where the contention is that even if the government agencies did have the power to be alienated from enforcing the provisions of this act, how can we let this benefit extend to private companies or private classes of companies? Now, under the new bill in India, exempted state agencies and private entities will not be within the purview of the Data Protection Board, the body which will be responsible for imposing penalties in case fiduciaries infringe privacy. Now, just in case, data fiduciaries are basically, now there are two terms when you will be reading this draft bill. So, data fiduciary stands for individuals or private entities, or basically anyone who collects the data, analyzes it, and processes it for their needs. And data principal is the person or the common man whose data is being accumulated or collected. Now, there is a coming back to this, there is a stark absence of such blanket exemptions in foreign legislations. Now, when we talk of the central government's blanket exemptions for their government agencies or the said benefit being extended to the private companies, and when we look at how the data protection bill in our country is being modeled, let's say after the GDPR regulations, we notice that when we come to the data protection legislations of foreign nations, they have no such blanket exemptions against anyone. Further, interdepartmental sharing of data is not only allowed but encouraged by the draft policies, such as the Draft National Data Governance Framework Policy of 2022, which facilitates the creation of comprehensive profiles of citizens. Now, time and again, there has been a huge protest, or there has been huge negative comments when it comes to any government or any state authority profiling citizens. In addition, provisions of other legislations, such as the Criminal Procedure Identification Act of 2022, which allows for overzealous collection and storage of biometric data for 75 years, are in direct contrast with the principles of data minimization and prevention of unauthorized collection of personal data. So, what remains to be seen right now is how the stakeholders react to this, how the stakeholders give their suggestions, and how the government decides to implement and incorporate these suggestions for a better data protection bill that favors the data principle instead of the data fiduciaries. So, with that, we move on to the news updates for today. Firstly, Annamalai Tiger Reserve launches jumbo trails in Coimbatore. The Annamalai Tiger Reserve, or ATR, has launched Jumbo Trails, a program aimed to educate visitors to the Tiger Reserve about elephants, the flora and fauna of ATR, and the Aboriginal tribes who live in the hills. Secondly, we have Novak Djokovic clinches men's single 2022 ATP finals. Novak Djokovic defeated Casper Ruud in the final 7-5, 6-3 to win the singles tennis title at the 2022 ATP finals. It was his sixth tour finals title, which he now equals Roger Federer with. Thirdly, India launches official website in theme of SEO 2023. India has launched the official website for Shanghai Cooperation Organization, as it will host the next SCO summit as a chairman of organization in 2023. The website highlights the events that will be undertaken under the chairmanship of India next year. Fourthly, we have the Dalai Lama receives Gandhi Mandela Award. The 14th Dalai Lama was conferred the Gandhi Mandela Award 2022 at Thekchen Choiling in Dharmshala's McLeodganj by Himachal Pradesh Governor Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar. With this, we move on to the legal updates for today. We have only one legal update, that is, contract can be said to be concluded only when parties are ad idem on all essential terms. The Supreme Court observed that a contract can be said to be concluded only when the parties are ad idem on all the essential terms of the contract. The three judges bench of the apex court observed thus, while partly allowing the appeal filed by the Karnataka Power Transmission Corporation Limited against the Karnataka High Court that had set aside orders passed by the Karnataka Electricity Regulatory Commission. And this happened in the case of Karnataka Power Transmission Corporation Limited versus JSW Energy Limited. So, with that, we come to an end for today's thorough newspaper analysis. For free study materials and the TNA PDF slides, please feel free to join the Telegram channel, the link of which you can scan from the barcode that is given on your screen. It is also available in the description below the video. For any further information, please feel free to visit www.lawsikho.com. And once again, I hope to see every one of you there in the Constitutional Day quiz. Thank you.